I guess 10 years ago, I thought we were nowhere. We weren't large, we weren't small, we were somewhere in the middle. Probably goes back to when I lost my wife in 1999. Didn't really care about things too much for a while, but I was lucky I had a business I had to run, so I still had to be somewhere every day and carry on the family business. It just came down to me, so it was very much about, well, let's have a go and see what I can do with myself. I'm a giblet and I married the youngest daughter of George Newton, one of the two Newton brothers. They bought this land off my grandfather. Two of my daughters are already and my son-in-law are already involved in the business.
There was a discussion around the dinner table one night, what's going to go on in the future with the farm. We've got a young family, we decided that we really wanted to raise our kids in the bush.
Hello Jasper, hello Sashi. You got an apple, have you? Yeah, pink lady.
And it's easier to bring up kids on an orchard because you can use all these handy bins to contain them.
We're pretty lucky here in Western Australia. We have very low pests. Our biggest predators are birds, hail and probably sunburn. We've had a very good week lead up to the harvest week of nice cool mornings, because the cool morning low temperatures is what enhances the colour of red apples.
I think we've got approximately 125 people working for us, mainly travellers. They all know about it, they know to come to manage them up, they're begging for jobs.
We're substantial employers of people in the area.
That many staff. Challenges are plenty.
We encourage a family environment in our workforce. There's some tough times, pruning and harvesting. There's some pressure periods in the year, but once harvest is done, we all go, This year, in total, we won't be far off 20,000 bins, probably about 5,000–6,000 apples per bin. Yeah, millions of apples, yes, yeah.
Our business has grown fairly phenomenally in the last 5 years. We've quite simply, our infrastructure wasn't coping with that level of production. So we really had to focus on where we were going, build in new initiatives just to become more competitive, both locally and internationally.
The packing capacity needed to be expanded, the cool store capacity needed to be expanded. We always have had water issues. We carry a huge amount of debt to harvest the crop. Previous banks just saw us as, the bottom line says you're over your overdraft or you're near the end of your overdraft, what are you going to do about it? I remember one year with a previous bank, they didn't even allow us to get our whole crop off. So they closed the funds off on us and we weren't able to finish harvest one year. That's how bad it got. Bankwest came on board and we've had a really, really good relationship with those guys.
The business had been with Bankwest since about 1990, but I've been working with them over the last 4 years or so.
Tim's obviously our current manager and very, very good, and he's been like all the previous managers. They've taken the time to come and understand our business, our peak debt periods, our peak income periods.
I was taken by the scale of the operation, but also the work that they were doing on developing the properties.
Bankwest have backed us all the way and to take us into new technology to reduce our costs, to make us remain competitive.
Through the increase in trees and their production, they had to do something with the processing system that they had.
There was a 30% investment allowance from the government. We decided that was a very good time for us to take advantage of that. We took our numbers to Tim and said, look, we're looking at a new piece of machinery that will probably double our production, half our pack house wages.
Tim was very excited when he first saw it.
I think when I first saw the pre-sizing machine, it was just something that I didn't expect to see.
You see the apples just gently floating up and they start their little journey across the pre-sizer. Every lane or flume has got an exact size of apples into it.
The technology to see that each apple gets photographed 20 times, it was just quite mind-boggling to see that working.
It's an electronic scanner, so it's scanning every apple for defects. They're coming up on a software program which is identifying if there's any defects on the apple, If it does have a defect, it gets told, off you go down this conveyor belt down there, and it goes off toward the juice bin and they make it into cider or apple juice. Now, this machine has enabled us to really grow our business, so we're meeting all the old orders in half the time with half the staff.
You don't have a choice, you really have to go with what's being put in front of you, otherwise to stop or stand still is really to go backwards.
They just seem to be very progressive in growing to be one of the best in the state.
They actually find out whether, you know, what I'm telling them is a lot of furphies or it's got some substance.
It will provide the platform to be able to compete with foreign imports.
There's no one else has offered us anything better than what we can get at Bankwest.
Harvey has done a fantastic job getting this business to where it is. I know he is very proud of his family being involved in the business.
I think each generation brings its own style and expertise to the business, and I'm sure they'll do a good job of it because they're very passionate and they're very proud of it too. What's your job, Jasper?
Driving dump truck.
Well, there you go. That's a very important job.